Lindsey, I appreciate you being here. It is a pleasure. I really have enjoyed your music throughout the past couple of weeks here. Since I came across you, I've been really digging it. So good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
I wanted to start here though. When I reached out to you, I thought that your name was Annabelle. I didn't think it was Lindsey.
Totally.
How often does that occur?
That occurs often, very often. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
and I'm inviting it maybe, I think maybe I should accept that or lean into it a little.
yeah, you got to embrace it for sure.
I love it. It's great.
It's not a bad name to have.
It's not a bad name.
There are worse names.
There are worse names. It's just shared with like a, evil doll. Is that what it is? Annabelle?
That's right. They made that movie. I maybe a couple movies about it.
Yeah.
Are you? I mean, I haven't seen it, but I remember, there's some movies that you remember seeing a lot of trailers for. That was one of them for me. I couldn't go anywhere without seeing it.
Same. I never saw the movie, just the trailer.
Yeah. And I mean, the budget for marketing must have been astronomical because you and I both had the same scenario. It's like I've seen it. I get the gist of it. I don't need to go see it. I get the whole thing. Yeah.
I get it all for sure.
Yeah, that was a big one. Some movies though, they just I know it just because they've been pushing it so hard, and it's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's the worst.
You want to make your money back.
See a movie and then now I have ads for the movie. And I'm
Yeah.
like, don't they know I saw the movie?
It's like, hey, I'm not push this on someone else because I you already got my money. That's it.
Yeah, totally.
Are you a fan of watching movies?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say like I'm a movie guy, but I like movies.
that's exactly what a movie guy would say. They say I'm not into movies, but I watch them constantly. What was the most recent movie you've watched?
Oh, well, I attempted last night to watch. See, I don't even know what it's called and I don't know the plot.
Because they didn't do the ads, they didn't shove it in front of your face. I understand.
It was like the Lindsay Lohan holiday movie.
Okay, yeah. No, Lifetime was doing that, right?
I don't know, but it's crazy that you say that because I was like, this is so bad, or like the casting is so weird. Like I thought they would do better for LL,
True fans know her as
like a Lifetime
LL.
movie. It seemed like their budget was a little low.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that works, but
I don't know who you speak
that
to
was my
about that regarding that, but that's an issue that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I think so.
You said that you attempted to watch it. Now, did you not finish it?
I didn't finish it. I didn't pay attention. So I didn't watch it. I
That's
did
fine.
see the menu in theaters.
Okay.
I saw that, which it was the same thing. Like I saw the preview and I was like, I feel like I just saw what happened, but I'll give it a try. The same thing happened.
Yeah, I don't really get grabbed by trailers like, oh, I need to watch that movie. It's more like a word of mouth kind of thing. If multiple people tell me about the same movie, it's like, okay.
Yeah, totally.
But you gotta trust that person's judgment on stuff. If they give you like a whack kind of opinion and, oh, you gotta try this restaurant, it's like, this restaurant blows. I can't. So
Yeah.
how can I take that person seriously with their recommendation of a movie? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, ever again.
No.
About anything. But yeah.
Maybe one. You get one. And if you screw up on the one, that's fine. But
Yeah.
over that, it's just it's too many times. I'm not trying to get burned.
Love it.
I like watching movies though. I get into this thing of I'll watch a lot of movies and then I'll just watch zero movies for a while, and then it's kind of like that cycle of going through that.
Yeah, I've been watching. I'm like pre-cell phone. I just watched The Fugitive.
Yeah, the one with
2000s.
what's his name? Harrison Ford, right?
Yeah, it's great.
I
Great.
saw that one. I saw that one on like I want to say Paramount Network not too long ago.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember where it was, but
yeah, I mean, and for those of you who don't know, this guy definitely killed his wife, and he's just running from the law, for sure.
Great film.
Yeah. There it is. There's your trailer for it. Um, I think that was based off of a show though before, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong about that. By the same name, it was in like the 50s, I want to say.
Cool.
Yeah. So definitely check that out if you
I'll
like the
check that
fugitive.
out for sure. I
Yeah.
would love it. It's up my alley.
Yeah, exactly. You live in Austin, Texas, right?
I do.
Wow. How do you like it over there?
I like it. I love it. I didn't expect to. When I first thought of moving to Texas, I was like, Texas? Like, what's going on in Texas? It's like the idea of Texas in my mind was so backwards, which it is in a lot of ways, but yeah, it's a lot different than I imagined before I got here. And yeah, I've been here maybe 9 years now, and I really like it. So
It's good. That's a good chunk of time.
yeah, it's a good chunk of time.
Wow. And was it directly to Austin in the beginning?
Well, I actually grew up in New Jersey. And then I went to college in New Mexico. So I moved to Santa Fe for 5 years. And then I moved here 9 years ago ish. Yeah. So I was kind of like ended up here somehow.
Jumping around,
Yeah. Jumping around.
doing a bit of sightseeing. I understand.
Yeah, for sure.
What did you go to school for?
I went to school for acting,
Ooh,
musical theater, and like stage production stuff.
very nice. And that
Yeah.
was what college was that at?
When I started there, it was College of Santa Fe, and then it became Santa Fe University of Art and Design.
While you were there, did you see the shift?
I saw the shift. Actually, the year after my first year, it closed down. And I was back in New Jersey working at a Scottish butcher shop.
As you do, sure.
And I was like, I'm not going back there. It closed down. And some lady came in. I like got an email like, we're reopening, like, here's a scholarship. And I was like, what a nightmare. Like, sounds like not a great idea. And this woman came in and she was like, what do you do? Like, you just work in a butcher shop? And I was like, yeah, my college closed down.
As it does, a
Weird.
tale told many times. My school shut down. I don't go there anymore. Got it.
High school, like, it's done, it's fine. And she was like, what? Like, my son went there, and like, which, like, who ever goes to college in Santa Fe? Never mind, like, this woman that like walked into this butcher shop in New Jersey and was like, my son went there, and like he like failed out after the first year, and it's the biggest regret of his life. And I feel like I was like, oh my God, like, is this a sign to go back? I wouldn't say that, I don't know, but I ended up going back.
That definitely played a part in it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. That's from an outsider's perspective. That definitely seems like, yeah, I should go back.
It was kind of like, it was eye-opening. I was like, a weird time. I was gonna go to like community college in Manhattan, and like everybody was going there, and classes were full because it was like the recession, and NYU was expensive. I don't know. It was a mess. So I was like, maybe this is like my only choice, or I'm gonna have to like stay at the butcher shop and like see what happens. So I went back.
This sounds like a Lifetime kind of Hallmark movie kind of scenario here, and obviously who would play your part.
Who would it be?
Harrison Ford from The Fugitive, obviously, of course.
Lindsay Lohan?
No, not Lindsay Lohan. No way. She plays the lady that walked into the butcher shop. That's obviously that's the role for her.
Cool. I like that. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
honestly.
But she plays a bigger part in that because it has to be like an hour or so, so really gotta drag out. So she plays a bigger part. Maybe she enrolls to the school with you. Maybe,
Okay.
yeah.
Plot twist, murder.
Whoa. I mean, Santa Fe, yeah.
Totally.
New college, new rules, and it's in the bylaws. They try to throw Lindsay Lohan out, but it's like, well, it's not written in the whatever. What's that thing you get? Syllabus. It's on the school syllabus that you can't murder on the campus. Yeah. I like this.
I like this. I think we're on to something.
Way
Cool.
better than Annabelle, I'll tell you that. Uh, so you end up moving back to Santa Fe, and you do you do end up obviously going back, and you got your degree in what was it again? What was the what'd you end up in?
Acting, basically.
Acting.
Yeah,
Nice.
basically.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so when I went back, I was like, why am I doing this? I was not super into it. I felt pretty on the outside of like the program I was in. I didn't really want to be an actor. I think I enjoyed singing, I enjoyed performing. And somewhere in my like 18-year-old brain was like, wow, like I could just go to school and like tap dance. It's great. Um, but no, it ended up being a blessing. I met I like once I went back, I connected with some people doing music, and they were like, well, you sing, like be in our band, like sing on our song. And I was like, okay, like I can try. I was scared to do it.
You said
um,
you sure you don't need tap dancing? Because I mean I'm a man of many hats.
Tap dancing easy, singing not
Not
scary, more
not so
scary,
easy.
maybe more scary. Yeah, so I did that. I joined a band and was like doing like backup singing, like percussion, auxiliary, tambourine, little floor tom, glockenspiel situation,
The whole shebang.
the whole shebang.
Now,
Um,
was this in Tree Motel? Is this
yes, yes,
okay?
this is true
Okay.
as well.
I did a little bit of research. So I was like, she's
Cool.
definitely gonna bring up this whole tap dancing stuff that she did. Let me just get the name of it correctly. Yeah.
Totally. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, so Tree Motel was a thing. Actually, it actually just dawned on me. I think the first album we recorded was during Thanksgiving. We recorded our first album on Thanksgiving, and I remember, I guess I was maybe like my fourth year in college, and I usually went back to Jersey, or I had stayed with friends the year before, but I was like, I'm not coming home. Like, I'm going to record an album in the middle of the nowhere. And like, I feel like my dad was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're going to record an album? Like, with who? It was sort of like, I feel like they knew I was like into singing, but it was like, oh, now you're in a rock and roll band. Great. Like,
Mexico changed you, obviously.
yeah,
Mhm.
totally. So yeah, that was actually Thanksgiving. It was like the days around Thanksgiving, probably a million years ago. I don't even know how many years ago that was now.
Roughly about a million, you would say.
A million, yeah.
Okay,
Something
cool.
like that. Probably that.
Gotcha.
Um,
Um,
so
that
that
did
was cool.
did
That's
you get
great.
the whole album done in that span?
Yeah, actually, I think we maybe did overdubs, like because we all went to college together, and there was like this tiny art school, and there was a music studio. So I think we maybe did like some overdubs after the fact, but I'm pretty sure maybe we did all of it in like 4 days. It was like, actually, I think that's what we did. And there was like 18 drum mics. Like, I had never even been in a studio and had no idea what to expect. And I was just like, oh, this is like how it goes down. I mean, and later
Sure.
went on to like, now I record my own drums with like one microphone, like facing the corner. And I think that's the way to do it. But it was really cool to sort of like start to learn that world. It was like my first real
Encounter. Yeah.
encounter in studio world, whatever. Yeah, it was cool.
That is definitely a good experience to have in
Yeah.
that capacity. I don't know. Maybe you should bring back the 18 mics on the drums.
Yeah, it could
That's
be cool. It makes me want to go back and listen to like really what did the drums sound on that, like on that album. I'm now
it sounds like too much. Maybe.
too much. Well,
Maybe.
yeah, we'll see. It might be too much. It's a lot to deal with.
Wow. And that was your first kind of experience with making music though. That was it. That was kind of jumping off point.
Totally. I was just didn't know anything about anything really. Like, I love to sing. I was fascinated by all of it. I feel like I was just like a sponge. Like, I was like obsessed with like listening to everybody talk about it, even though I had no idea what they were talking about. I was like, what is this cable? What do I do with this? Like, but it was the best. Like, I loved it a lot. And then we went on to like record a lot, like as our, with the band, we would record at home, and then they would sort of like teach me guitar and everything. Really, they were so cool about just like, oh yeah, you want to know how to do this? Like, do this, do that, which is, they were very encouraging. The
Wow.
guys in the group, it was great.
So how long were you in that group for?
I would say a while, like few years. I think maybe I started with them like my sophomore year of college, and then played with them for 3 years, and then we went on a few tours. And after I graduated, I remember we went on tour, our first tour ever, and I like called my mom from Oklahoma and was like, hey, like, I'm not gonna come home. Like, I was gonna move back to Jersey and like, audition in New York and maybe like live in the city and like live that life. But once we were on tour, I was kind of like, I think I want to do this. So while we were on that tour, I decided I would stay in Santa Fe an extra year and just see what would happen if I just focused on music. And that's really when I started to like pick up the guitar and like write stuff, and started like figuring out GarageBand, and just kind of became like obsessed. And so that was like a year of that, like free sort of like, didn't have school, just kind of like dove into music. And then they were like, we should move to Texas. And I was like, that's a terrible idea. But then we moved to Texas, and we went there with the band. I think we like lost the drummer along the way, and then maybe started playing with someone else, and it just kind of like wasn't the same. And yeah, that was around the time I just was like, I want to start finding people to play with. So some of my bandmates and another friend who moved with us started playing songs that I wrote, which then was sort of like became Annabelle Chairlegs. And Annabelle Chairlegs was actually my nickname in Tree Motel.
Wow.
So yeah, it was kind of like an extension of that in a way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a really cool journey. I mean, losing a drummer, going to Oklahoma, calling your mom. I mean, these are things that had to happen in order for you to really get into music.
Totally.
These are major stepping stones. Everybody's gone through them for sure.
Totally. These huge shifts where I was like, I'm doing this. Like, this is what I want to do now. Yeah. And it was interesting. Like, then moving to Texas, they're like, you're gonna move to play in a rock and roll band now. Like, what happened to like your degree and this and that? And I remember calling my mom like, hey, I found this guitar in like Thriftland, and it's like $30. Like, do you think you could like wire me like $18? Like, some, like, not even the full amount, like 18.
No,
She was
because
like,
you were an adult, and you're like, hey, I only need a little bit here. I'm not asking for the
yeah,
whole
my
shebang.
rent was like $450 a month, and I was like making $450 like every other week. So it was so silly. But she's like, are you on drugs? She was like worried, I feel. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey for sure.
It definitely sounds like it. Um, when you first picked up the guitar, that was still in the other band, not Annabelle Chairlegs. You already were learning it before then, correct?
I kind of like, I guess that the last year in Santa Fe, I really wanted to. And I remember Mark, one of my bandmates, the lead guy of Tree Motel, was explaining to me like, when I started playing, I would just do E over and over, and then I would just try to switch. So I was like, yeah, I'll just try to switch. So I would just sit there and cry and be like, I can't switch. Like, I don't have any finger strength. Like, this sucks. But then really started to kind of get the hang of it. Once I moved to Austin, really, I became way more just obsessed with guitar. I think like there was a shift for sure. And like now I really want to write my own songs, and not in a way that's just like recording myself on GarageBand going like, like making up like beatboxing bass lines and stuff like that. It was exciting, you know?
Was there something that kind of pushed you during that time to be like, okay, I really, really want to? Was there a significant kind of thing that propelled you to like that next level of like, okay, I need to take this to the next level?
I think just being like obsessed with it, like just being consumed all the time. Like that was just, I was like, if this, I think this is what I want to do. So like, if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. And I do, it is funny. I feel like I forget sometimes there was such a fuel to the fire for me, like being a female in a band, like playing tambourine and like being a backup singer. It was always like, oh, you're the singer. And it would just like infuriate me. And I wouldn't get, it would just like inside of me. I would just be like, oh, like that like annoys me. And like, why does that annoy me? Because I want to be more than that. So I think that fueled a fire in me for sure. Like I just would think to myself, like one day I'm just going to be like, yeah, I play guitar and I write all the songs and I record them. Like I wanted to do that so badly. So I think that helped a little.
I would say a lot'll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Just the like, oh, you must be the singer. Like, I am. Yeah.
Um, when did you decide it was time to make Annabelle Chairlegs an actual thing? When did you decide, all right, I'm gonna fully immerse myself within this project?
I think when I was really started to, so there was this weird Facebook group back, like right when we moved to Austin, and it was like a songwriters challenge. And like every week, this guy, Jason, would like he'd be like, you have 24 hours to write and record a song, and you have to use like this word or like this phrase or whatever. Which I just was like so excited about, because I was like, this is just like some wacky little thing. It'll be fun. And yeah, as soon as I was like actually recording stuff and started playing with people and was like, I feel like this sounds like okay. That was just like all I really wanted to do. And like recording, really, I would just like record riffs that I like couldn't really play, sing over them, and then would just sort of fight to be able to sing and play them at the same time, I guess, you know? Yeah, I don't know. That was, I don't know if that answered the question, but
It did. It definitely did. Was that a huge kind of turning point to be able to like, or like learning how to sing and play at the same time? Was that, yeah.
definitely. And then like writing, like I just never felt like a writer. I never thought about, I don't know, the more I started like playing with words and being like, I can like talk about all these things I can't ever talk about like in real life, or like that, just approaching things in different ways creatively or scenarios was like so fun to me. It was like theater in a way, but like really reimagined, like not just reading off a paper, but just sort of creating a whole world and a whole character, or like leaning into parts of myself and then making them more ugly or more beautiful, or, you know, navigating it in that way was so fun. I just became so into like that, really.
Nice. So it was because of a Facebook group that it kind of propelled you to create your own thing.
I think like, you know, like finish songs and like projects. Like the first one I ever did was the song Ask Me If I Care. And I just was like loving sort of diving into that for like the week or the day. I think it was, you had a week or maybe you had a day to do it. I can't even remember, but yeah, it
Wow.
sort of,
A short amount of time. And you
yeah.
were obviously used to that while recording a full album within 4 days.
Yeah. But yeah, it was, really cool to finally like finish a song and be like, wow, I wrote a song. Like, this is a song. This is how it's going to go. And then having a band and supportive friends that wanted to do it too and play the songs. And it was a special time for sure.
That's awesome. Now, Ask Me If I Care, that ended up being on your first album, right?
Yeah.
What did it, from the inception of it, from like writing it within this week or even day span of time, and to actually recording it to put it on the first album, did you change it at all, or was it relatively the same, bringing in just a little bit more elements to flesh it out a bit?
It was pretty much exactly the same. I think at the time I really doubted my like ability to record or know what I was even hearing. So redoing it, I feel like now I hear the original recording and I'm like, this is what it is. Like, this is how it's supposed to sound. Whereas the album is more, just seems like live. And I feel like at the time I just didn't have the confidence with knowing how I wanted it to sound. Um, so like the first two albums are kind of an interesting thing for me to I'm proud of the songs and I'm proud with what they are, but I think if I like could have done it again, I would have maybe done it myself or like navigate it, like anything.
Yeah, put a couple more mics on the drums. I understand stuff like that.
Years up here, a couple more mics on the, just it would have been fine.
Yeah, stuff changes in retrospect. I understand.
Yeah, but it's cool now thinking of it. I'm like, oh, like it kind of reminds you to like trust yourself and trust your vision and how you hear something,
Mhm.
and like stick with that. You don't have to just go to some big studio with some big producer because it's not always going to be it, you know?
It's true.
So
I've heard that before, and I feel like that's a true statement. Unless you're lying to me, and I'll know, Lindsay, and I won't be happy about that. But that's neither here nor there.
positive.
So the first album, it was Watermelon Summer, correct?
Yeah.
Wow. How long after kind of making these songs for the Facebook group and then writing and recording and releasing this album did that occur? Like what kind of time span are we talking about in between the inception of this and the release of it?
So I guess maybe a couple of years. I had worked on a bunch of songs my first year in Austin, and all my bandmates that I had like moved with, some of which were started Annabelle Chairlegs with me, had like after the year decided to leave Austin. So it turned out I was really the only one who ended up staying, along with my other bandmate Mark. So we had started recording the first Annabelle Chairlegs album, and then there was like a move happening, and it ended up being like a distance thing. And I was just like, this is too much. Like, maybe I should just sort of just like start over, or like, I want to find some people to play with. Like at that point, I was just just
Back at
with,
the deli, of course.
yeah,
Yes,
back at the deli.
back at the deli.
I had nothing, and
We've all
like
been there. Yeah.
these were also the people that really inspired me and encouraged me. So I think at the time it was so hard for me to like, I was like, oh my God, what can I do without these people? Like, I'm not capable of anything. I need these guys. So, it was a moment of just sort of starting to meet people and like put myself out there and find people to play with. And then sure enough, started playing with some people. We ended up recording the album in this house compound we all eventually moved into. Some new people I met, and I moved into this back house, and people moved up front. We recorded that album just on like a Porta studio with like not much. Yeah,
18 mics in a dream. Yeah.
2 mics in a dream. So yeah, that was probably like 3 mics and on the east side of Austin, and that's how we did that.
On
And
the
then
east side of Austin. If that's not, you should write that down as a title for something. On the east
that's
side of Austin. That's pretty good.
cool.
That's it's like John Steinbeck, but not Eden, Austin.
Yeah, Austin. There it is.
There it is.
Nailed it.
So, and that has what 10 songs on it, right? If I'm not, or 12?
I'm thinking probably 10.
Okay, let's do 10 then. 10
10.
songs. Yeah. Sounds good. Nice and round. 10 songs. Wow. And that was the first release.
Yeah. And that was sort of like I started playing with some new people, I think, and was like, oh, let's book tours. Like then I was like, I'm just gonna start booking all these tours, and like let's get the album done by the time the tour happens so we can like sell it on the road.
Smart move.
Yeah, and that was sort of how it came out. It just was released into the world the day of the one of the tours. So
Surprise, surprise.
yeah, just had no idea how to do anything, but whatever, just put it out there.
You learn while going. How many of those songs were written while you had the band as opposed to before through like the Facebook kind of era? Was it kind of half and half, or?
I would say like half and half probably. Well, all the songs pretty much were written during like that Facebook era. Whatever, the
Facebook group era. Yes.
They weren't all part of the contest. There's like 2 of them that were like I submitted in the contest, which is really funny. But yeah, I had written them probably right when I moved to Austin, sort of right after, kind of still with like Santa Fe on the mind. I feel like that was like all that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Has your perception of this album, because it came out in 2015, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Has your perception on that album changed throughout these couple of years now?
Yeah, I think it's funny, like I still feel very close to the songs. I think mostly what's like changed for me is just how they're like the delivery, maybe. Like sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll just like redo it, like for fun, just so to like lean more into like creative sound and like stuff like that.
Do you feel like if you had leaned into it more then, that you'd have the opposite reaction now, that you're like, I can do it more, it's like stripped down, this is never perfect?
Probably, because now I'm like, let's put on like 18 things and double this on this track and bounce this down, and yeah, for sure. I think there's probably some fine balance to all that stuff.
Watermelon Summer was followed up by Gotta Be in Love, and that was, and please correct me if I'm wrong, in September of 2020. That's when that album came out, right?
Yeah.
So 5 years ish, give or take, between like the release of the first one and the release of the second one.
Yeah, 5 years between them, but Gotta Be in Love was actually recorded in 2017 or 2018.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What was the path that had to traverse in order to get it out in 2020?
I don't know. I think I was just like going through a lot of personal things, like dark things, and like lost all confidence in it and was just like, whatever, like it's no good, like forget about it, I'll just redo it one day and then maybe it'll find a way out. And then I was just like, you know what, I just need to like get it out of here,
Release it. Yeah,
just release it into the world, it'll be fine. So yeah, it was sort of like that. It was kind of like I think it's like a tough thing, especially doing everything just like all DIY and sort of navigating things alone for the most part. It's sort of hard to like keep perspective and like keep it moving. which
Sure.
lately I'm trying to like change that and just, keep things flowing and like release stuff and like free yourself of that any energy that or anything you like are doubting or whatever, because it happened and it is what it is. So,
So get on with it, right?
get on with it. Yeah.
That's your words, not mine. Don't do it. Don't get on with it. Hammer yourself about it. If you think there's a problem with something, if there is, and you should blow it up as much as big as possible.
Totally.
Make it into a major deal. Definitely.
For sure.
That's my advice. That's me talking that.
Oh.
Did it feel different kind of recording both of these albums within, and you said it was only about what, like 3-ish years in between the two, or
Yeah,
at least the release and the starting of recording for the second one?
totally. Yeah.
Within that kind of time span, did it feel different, like a different approach was happening, or
Did
kind
it
of what you
felt
were writing about?
Yeah, I feel like I was always so used to like doing everything at home, like with my bandmates and friends, and it was so like personal in that way. And I think I'm like very like emotional in that way. Like I love being like in my own creative space to like make stuff. Um, so it was different. Like we went to a studio, we had like no budget, like we had no money. So we had only like 5 days to record in Austin in this like studio.
So you had one more day than you had previously had before.
Totally. And
With
like 5 less drum mics probably. Or no, maybe like 10.
Yeah,
Still. But this was like
that's, I mean, you give and take with that. Yeah,
days.
that's the thing.
But yeah, so that was just an interesting time. I think I learned a lot. I feel like I sort of was navigating like catering to sort of everyone in the group and like making everybody happy instead of like really focusing on like the vision of like this is like what this is about. So this is like what it could sound like and like how can we navigate the meaning of this and like make it what it is. But like I don't regret any of that because that's like it's helps you realize like, okay, that's what I can like do next. Like that's what I can really focus on from here on out. If that's like what really means the most is like approaching the songs in such a way that's intentional and not just about like how a live band or like catering to everyone's ego and like making everyone happy. Just like, what is this song about? Where is it? Why are we here? And like, how can we make it sound like what it is, you know?
Right, and you only wanted to cater to your needs and what you wanted it to sound like. You didn't take anybody else's
Mm,
approach on it, right?
Well, no, well, I think it's so important to, and I think you need that and you need to be open to it. But I think you can't lose yourself to try to like just to not have self-confidence and be like, cool, like instead just being like not just needing it to go your way, but knowing exactly what you want and being able to communicate it in a way that's like productive for everyone and everything and positive, and I think it for everyone, not just like turn my guitar up. It's like, what is the tone of the guitar and like what are we doing, like what is like the greater good of the song, I think. Like navigating that and being open to everybody you're collaborating with, of course, but also as like the songwriter staying true to like what the vision is of what it's about, I think.
Very nice. I got the impression while listening to both of the albums that speaking of being like open-minded and leaving it kind of like not, it's not just my view or this person's view or this person's view, that it's always exploring the sound within these songs. So it's like you're on a path in one song and a different song, but it's different. It's taking different avenues in different ways, and it's opening up and opening up and opening up. But it feels like it keeps on getting more open. Do you feel that? Did it feel that way when you were recording it? Rather, not kind of like closed in and bots like we're just going to do this one thing, we're going to stay in the lane and
I,
we're
s-
not going to deviate from that.
I think certain things did. I think some of the songs that we were most vulnerable on, that we hadn't played for like 3 years all over the place and like in Austin and everywhere, like the songs that weren't so, this is what we play all the time and we have no time, so let's just play it like how we play it live. um I think those ended up being the more magical moments, because there was like more of an openness and more of like a freeness to sort of, just navigate whatever's going on in those moments, which is really cool.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
also super important.
How big of a role is vulnerability within the music that you create?
I think for me, like major. I'm just very, very emotional. Um, and like I feel like it is what it is in the moment. So I think it's super important for me anyway.
Um, these songs really showcase, because you have a wide range within your voice, and it's awesome. I love it. It's really, really cool. I really like the sound of it and where you take it. It can be low and it could be high and it could be in the mid and all these different kind of things. And while kind of reading about what other people had to say about the band, like people had said like they um attribute your voice to like a kin of Grace Slick, and that it's like powerful and turbulent and all this different kind of stuff. Maybe not turbulent. I think that's a bad adjective to use. But nevertheless, how do you describe your own voice in your own
Um,
words?
I don't know, maybe just like moody kind of. I feel like I couldn't even say. I feel like so I also have an album finished that is going to come out like soon, eventually. I don't know, maybe I'll just put it out, whatever. But it's a little more so all over the place because it's less live. So I think like some songs are like very talky and like weird, and other songs are more like belty, kind of similar to the like the second record, or just like all over the place. So I couldn't really I think it's more depends on like the mood or the emotional
It's
context.
moody.
It's
I've heard people describe it
like,
as moody. I don't know if you ever heard that before, but as a recent kind of thing I heard
really
somebody say. Yeah.
moody.
Yeah, moody. Yeah, moody. It
Moody.
was you. That's where I heard
Okay.
it from.
I got nothing. I got nothing. Just all over the place. Whatever's in the moment, I think.
Whatever the song calls for, right?
Yeah, I think
Very
so.
nice. Yeah, it's gonna be an opera record as well. This is this
Honestly,
new one. That's what I've heard.
it's not the new one, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I've been kind of excited about the idea of maybe doing more like jazz, like standard stuff. I don't know. Just anything. It's like whatever. Yeah.
Anything and whatever. I like that. You're not open-ended. You're really closed-minded within this whole music thing. You're
I
very
think
just
I mean
whatever.
I think it could go either, like it's a mix of the both. It's like very closed-minded and then like too open maybe and all over the place. If that
You,
would be
you gotta
possible.
find that medium.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What artist kind of influenced you and had like a hand in shaping the way that you sing?
Um, I don't know. Maybe I wonder if it's like a lot of the people that I've been around and like friends and even theater. I think my mom sang a lot of like opera stuff when I was a kid. She took like voice lessons and would do stuff like that. I wouldn't say there's any one particular person. With
Besides Lindsay Lohan, obviously. Besides her,
I always really try to like rack my, brain on this. Because I like so many things. I like most things. I think I love a lot of female vocalists and like jazz and R&B, and for the most part, those are like my favorites. So just like I love like Irma Thomas and Dolly Parton and SZA and who else? I just love like great female vocalists. Because I love singing along, and yeah.
Gotcha. So nobody in particular at all, really. You're just your own influence.
Oh no, I think I'm influenced by everything. I think I'm overly influenced.
It's
I'm like,
just you. You're the person that everybody looks towards, and you look towards yourself because there's nobody else that's
no, I think I
better
look
than you.
towards everyone. I look to everyone.
You look down on everybody else because they don't sing the way you do, right?
I wish I could say no, that's not true. I wish I could say like, oh, like, the Beatles or like Bruce Springsteen or something, but like I don't feel like there was ever one, like these like male vocalists that I mostly listened to in like rock and roll. There wasn't really anything that I was ever super connected to in that way. There was always this sort of like disconnect. But yeah, I think like so many people. I couldn't even say.
Especially Bruce, because New Jersey.
Exactly. Like that's
He's the boss. Like
I know it's like a controversial thing for everyone outside of New Jersey, but it is what it is.
yeah, he is the boss. Born to run. Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna have him on the podcast soon, so that'll be nice to
Oh,
have him.
cool.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good. That's awesome.
I have to do it in New Jersey though. That's the only stipulation. So
Flying out.
driving. Yeah. So yeah.
Cool.
Driving a bus. I have to pay for it somehow. So I'm trying to,
He's not even putting the bus bill.
No.
They never.
He's the boss. What are you gonna ask your boss for a raise? I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him in New Jersey. Like I'm always like telling my dad, like we should just like find his house and just like bring Annabelle Chairlegs records or whatever and just like throw them over the
Yes.
And I don't know for what do I really want from Bruce? Like I recently commented on like I'm like impulsive on the internet. I think it's like silly. Like I'll DM a celebrity and like say something dumb, like not a troll, but just like I'm very like react, like I'll just be like that. And I commented on one of his posts, like, just holler if you need an opener, Brucey, like it's fine, but
you got to put your name out there. You have to do it.
You got to put yourself out there, even if it's,
That's true. You just recently opened up for Ty Segall too.
I did.
How the heck was that?
It was awesome. It was a full circle dream come true moment for sure. And it was at Hotel Vegas, which is like my favorite place to play. So it was still comfortable and nice, but scary, and it's acoustic. So it's like.
Well, you were also doing an acoustic set because he did one as well, right?
Yeah, totally.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was great. It was very vulnerable. It was good.
And you thrive off of that.
Yeah, totally.
That's your bread and butter.
I do.
Going back to celebrities, have you seen any celebrities out and about Austin? Because Austin seems like the new LA and New York. That's the emerging city.
It is the emerging city. I've seen I saw Andre 3000 at a coffee shop and he was like, "What's up?" And I was like,
"You like Annabelle Chairlegs? You DM me about this. What's up?"
I saw Ty Segall the other night, celeb.
Oh, no way. I call bullshit on that. Get out of here with that. What excites you about making music?
Everything. Well, only more recently, I've been so excited about like how things sound. And like obsessed with stuff like that. But I think every part of the process to me is like exciting. We actually are going to release a single tomorrow or the next day. And even having a finished song and then doing like art and music videos and stuff like that, I think like every part of the process is like exciting to me, from like writing it and thinking about like another world or a place or a feeling, to actually singing it and playing it, to actually recording it. I love. And then mixing and listening to things become finalized in a way is really special. And then going from there to sort of be able to like expand the world visually, I think is even just as exciting too. So that's fun.
That's awesome. By the way, this interview will be out after that releases. So where can people go and check that single out, the new one?
Cool. Everywhere, I guess.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Apple Music. It's called Tolls to See Me.
Ooh, okay. New Jersey, toll turnpikes, right? Tolls,
Tolls, tolls,
delis,
tolls.
ladies of women of alumni of your school, they got shut down, stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
Classic New Jersey stuff. Yeah. What do you kind of gain? And this might be that might be a bad word to describe it, but what do you gain from making music? What does music give you when you're either writing or rehearsing or recording or playing live? What do you gain from those experiences?
I'm not sure what I gain from it, but it's definitely like,
I told you it's a bad word to use,
well,
Lindsay. I told you that from the outside. I
I
said
know what
this
you're
might be a
saying.
bad one.
Like I know what you're saying.
Okay, good.
I feel like maybe it's just cool to like do something that I like makes sense to me. I don't know. I just feel like I never felt super good at much or like connected to much, like school and stuff like that. And I think it was so exciting to be able to dive into this whole world. Like that's just personally. But I also, I don't know, I love the idea of just characters and emotions and things that people could maybe relate to when they feel just by themselves or not, or anything like, and any of like connecting emotionally, I think, and through music and art is so cool and exciting. um i'm not I'm not too sure. I don't know.
Do you think that the audience, when you're playing live, and listeners when they're listening to it outside of a live performance, feel the same feelings or emotions that you're invoking through your music while they're listening to it and absorbing it themselves?
I don't think so. I think maybe they're feeling whatever, maybe the same, maybe sometimes, but maybe like music has that cool way of just doing its own thing to everyone, and like shaking everybody's nerves in different ways and making everybody's insides move differently. And sort of whatever that does to everyone, I think is different, maybe depending on what's going on in their life, where they, it's like when you smell something and you're like, ugh, that smells like high school, or like this song reminds me of this. I don't know. It's so personal for everyone.
There are those smells like, this does smell like a classroom. I've been there, like, oh,
Yeah,
and it's not that I don't, it's a fine smell or whatever. It's like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. Oh,
really.
this feels forced, like I'm here, even though if it is somewhere that I need to be
Yeah.
or chose to be at. I was like, oh man, this is like it has a school smell to it. That's a genuine smell.
What is that? Like sense, maybe like sense memory, or like, I don't know. I mean, that wouldn't even relate, but yeah,
I think I think it would be like, okay, now it's like, hey, you have assignment due that you didn't do, or hey, this is the smell of your college that got shut down.
totally.
These are things that are just I mean, just taken in, either subconsciously or consciously.
Just like, oh yeah, it could, yeah, it could mean so many things for so many different people based on like moments in time, I guess.
What class, history,
Yeah. Class,
English,
air,
all these different scenarios.
yeah.
When did the Sad Machine series begin?
The Sad Machine series began, I think, mostly when I started recording on my 4-track. There was like a period of time where I realized, I like looked back and I was like, wow, all these songs are just like tragic. And it all, I don't know, it was sort of, they all like fit together in like a same way. And I think I have a lot of stuff. Like I have another one I'm working on finishing, part 2. But they're
We're
all,
referring to volume 1, by the way, folks, right
yeah,
now.
I'm sure.
For those that don't know.
Yeah, I think it was just all these songs that sort of, in a way, all worked together, and they all seemed like they fit in this world. And it was like a sad world for me at the time. So yeah, I think that's kind of where that began, just in this sort of like blip of time, which I always, that exists all the time, entering different feelings and stuff. But that's for sure. A couple years ago, I had recorded those songs just like in my bedroom at home, and they all felt like the same place in a way.
Were they, or at least some of them, originally kind of just, they might end up on a Chairlegs album?
Totally.
Or okay.
I think like everything I write is just, could potentially, just see how it goes, or things will get chopped out, cut out here, or, but definitely wanted to put some of them on the next album. And then in some way I was like, no, this is this. I don't know why I'm trying to like pull these things and put them over here. This is this.
Let them be, huh?
Yeah, totally. And also like loving them just the same as anything else, and being like, this is a, one pocket of this umbrella, this like life of Annabelle Chairlegs, like all her different vibes and things, trying to navigate that more.
What do you want people to take away from the music that you create?
Whatever they want, maybe.
Whatever you're looking for. That's
Whatever
what
they
it is.
need to, for themselves, I guess, or not even for fully for them, but just could maybe even be a little blip of like aid in anything, in goodness, whether it's feeling like you have a friend in like sadness or anger or fun or anything, just something like that.
Good deal. What is your favorite song to perform live?
It's always like the newest thing, I think, is always my favorite thing, because it's the most vulnerable.
You
So
love that feeling. You love it.
I do, I really do.
Live to feel it.
We've been playing this song called Sword Swallower. That's gonna be on like the 4th album. So yeah.
Awesome. Sword Swallower.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Lindsey, thank you so much for sitting down with me and chatting and dealing with the earthquake and
Oh my
such.
God, glad you're okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and for being so thoughtful.
Thank you. I tried. I didn't put too much thought into it though, surprisingly. It's kind of but before we end it here, I want to plug some stuff for you. So Annabelle Chairlegs music streaming everywhere, wherever the people get it, that's where they can find you, right?
Yeah.
Good deal. And the people can stay up to date with releases and tours and everything else by following you guys on Instagram. Is that the best place?
Yeah, Instagram or AnnabelleChairlegs.com.
That's Annabelle Chairlegs on Instagram, and as you said, .com, and they can go support you too. Like there's some stuff for sale on the site as well.
Sure. There's some
Cool.
stuff on the site.
And also the Bandcamp, right?
And
Which is AnnabelleChairlegs.bandcamp.com.
yes.
And what's the new single called again? Just to refresh the memory.
Tolls to see.
Tolls to see me. Tolls to see Bruce. Or whoever me is in your life. Lindsey, thank you so much. Did we miss anything, by the way?
No, I don't think so. This was
okay.
Thank
Awesome.
you so much.
This was fantastic. I got to edit out the earthquake besides that.
Cool.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna stop recording this. I'll talk to you in a second, okay?
Cool.
Thank you, Lindsey.